And now, from the Marquee Media Studio inside Mark Tank, it's the Mark Haney Show.
Yes, this is the Mark Haney Show, and we are on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in the hometown we love. And we do that by building the backyard advantage. It's the most connected community in the world for local entrepreneurs. And at the heart of that advantage is a culture of love, right? Not just that fuzzy feeling we get, although that's part of it, but it's a feeling and it's the actions that we take, right? Love the verb, where you help people, you open up doors for people, you engineer wins for people. That's what we are doing here at the Backyard Advantage at GFX. Coming up October 5th. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of the show. But today we have a fun show, I think. We have the Big Bang winners, and I'll talk about them a little bit in a minute. But first, we're going to get to the JSL question of the week by Natomas Wealth. And we all know that when we're building wealth, or we are in the process of figuring out how we might build the wealth, at the end of that, or in the process, we need to figure out, what our plan is. What are we gonna do with what we've got? And I like to say, make a plan, work the plan. And JSL is the guy that can help you build your financial plan. And our JSL question of the week is, what are the responsibilities of a financial advisor versus a wealth manager?
What I would say is really perspective. And so the way that we view the difference is, one, experience and expertise. So do you have somebody that can serve in the role of a wealth advisor that says, I can look at the entire balance sheet and think through the exercise of whether it's through, again, an exit from an entity, real estate transaction, whatever it might be. What's this balance sheet look like today? What's the aspirational goals that you have? And what's the universe that you can pick from? There's a big difference between someone that can sit in that seat and kind of guide someone through that process, not just once, but on a recurring basis, especially in a fiduciary position. That's even more important, versus someone that maybe sits in a box that has the ability to advise on certain pieces of balance sheet allocation, public market securities, maybe life insurance, something like that. There's different roles, and they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. You might find an advisory practice that says we don't do any guidance on life insurance, and so they might engage a financial advisory team that focuses 100% on insurance practice to solve the needs for the client from that perspective.
So the wealth advisor, to make sure I'm going to restate this so that I'm sure I'm clear. Mm-hmm. So the wealth advisor, they're taking an overall picture of your entire all your desires associated with what you want to do with your money,
right,
and helping to quarterback that, or assist you to quarterback that effort. And you might bring in all kinds of experts to help do that,
right?
Life insurance, maybe even real estate, who knows?
Yep.
But just people to bring the whole thing together. And you mentioned, and then a financial advisor is more like a stockbroker by and large, if you will. They're the ones that I've talked to over the years as an old guy. They're typically want to keep you in stocks and bonds. And, there's kind of this area where, we get paid when, you have your money in these type of investments. So that's what we prefer you keep your stuff in. But then you use the term fiduciary.
Yeah.
So when does somebody become a fiduciary?
Yes. So that's a great question. So depending upon an advisor, as an example, our firm, how they serve a client and how they roll up. So we're an independent registered investment advisor. So we're a legal fiduciary for clients. And so there's really two rules that apply: best interest rule or fiduciary. And so the best interest rule, and I'm not saying necessarily that the best interest rule is not as good as a fiduciary. I say we serve in a fiduciary capacity. We think it's the most appropriate way for us to serve. There's different legal requirements that are applied given your position. So if I'm sitting at maybe a large Wall Street firm, I might serve in that best interest capacity. If I'm sitting as an independent advisor, for the most part, you'll see them serving in fiduciary capacities. That's something that we take very seriously. We designate that in every document for our engagements to say this is how we're serving. And why that's important is not just the minute we say we recommend you do this, but along the way thinking through the exercise of these are the things based upon our conversations we're having that are good for you today, tomorrow, and in the future as we continue to work together. So
today I'm super excited about the show because we're going to be bringing you the winners of the Big Bang competition that comes out of UC Davis. And we know when we're building an entrepreneurial ecosystem, there are many components. We have a lot of assets in this community. And one of the premier assets that we have is University of California at Davis. And this competition really brings out and highlights some of the up and coming entrepreneurs that are springing out of UC Davis. So I'm super excited about today's show and sharing information about the winners. But also at the end of the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about our entrepreneurial ecosystem and how it is changing, improving for the better. So stick around. These are the Big Bang winners. You know, I'm fired up today to be doing the show with the winners of the Big Bang, I was going to say Big Bang Theory, Big Bang competition at UC Davis. UC Davis has this competition that they do every year for entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs that are actually building companies. And so this year they said, "Hey, Mark, you want to have them on your show?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do this." So I have two teams here today. We're going to start off with the Big Bang competition winners from SchedGo. Okay, so I have three of you on this show. Maybe I'll have you each go around and introduce yourselves and who does what on the team. You want to start over here?
Yeah, sure. I'm Akshaj. I'm pursuing my MBA at UC Davis. I'm a co-founder at SchedGo. I mostly handle finances, so you can say I'm the CFO.
Okay.
And I'll let Dillon and Henry do their bit.
Yeah, Dillon.
Yeah, I'm classmates with Akshaj in the MBA program, and I'm the head of growth. So I'm looking at basically just general strategy of where we're headed and making sure that we get the users or the buyers to make sure that strategy works out.
Okay, and Henry, what's your job?
Hi, I'm Henry. I'm the founder and I head the product. I'm a computer science undergrad graduating this week.
All right. What's the emotion? Are you excited to be graduating?
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so you're the product guy. Why don't we start with you, Henry? So what is this SchedGo? What is it?
Yeah, so SchedGo is...
It's called SchedGo. I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's good feedback, though.
Yeah.
So SchedGo is an academic planning app. It's web and mobile app that helps guide students towards their graduation and a successful career. So we have mainly two products. One is class scheduler. Another is a degree planner. And we try to leverage AI and machine learning to help each student build their customized schedules that can fit their personal needs and preferences.
Why did you start this company? Is there a big problem that you saw, and how did you arrive at this solution?
Yeah, so when I was in my first year, the first time when I registered for classes, I realized that there are so many options I can choose from. Like each course has so many different sections. I need to resolve time conflicts between my classes and choose the professors I want, and also try to satisfy as much requirements as I need. So there are a lot of factors, and also there are things like wait list, because when I was first year, I get very low priority in registering the classes. So when I plan my schedule and when I actually register schedule, the course is filled up and I have to be on the wait list, and usually I don't get in when I was first year. So at that time I start to build a little tool that can automate this process. So I just need to consider what course I want to take, and the tool will figure out which section I should register that can get me the best chance of getting there with my preferred time and professors. And later, when I actually came here, start taking classes, I realized all my classmates have the exact same problem, and most of them are doing these optimizations manually. And so that's when I started founding a team, and I started making this little project with no UI into a website that others can use. And later, when I share this app with more and more students, I realized that there's some bigger problem I can solve, which is degree planning. So before I solved the problem of registering classes for a specific quarter, and later I realized that it's also a very frustrating experience to plan the entire 4-year degree plan, what classes I need to take for each quarter in order to satisfy general education requirements, major requirements, and which minors is most suitable for me based on my interest and the course I've taken. So now we are trying to add an AI-powered degree planner that will be a virtual, personalized academic advisor that can not just help you build class schedules for each quarter, but build your entire 4-year plan that is best catered to individual needs and their long-term plan.
All right. So, Dillon, do you guys have customers yet?
We have a lot of users. We have about 2,000 from 4 different universities.
Wow.
Yeah. Buyers is something that we're working on. It's very difficult to convince a university to take on a new vendor. So that's kind of the main challenge that we're trying to address.
How do you acquire a user?
A lot of different ways. Word of mouth has been really big. Like Henry said, every single university student has this problem since the dawn of time. So when they solve it with SchedGo, they tell their friends, etc. Beyond that, we just look for where students are already solving academic related problems. So like Reddit, social media, right? They're confused about their degree, their career. They're going certain places to find advice. That's really the best place to get in touch with them.
And is there a way to monetize this? What do you anticipate in terms of customers?
Yeah,
paying customers.
So Akshaj definitely has some great numbers on that. But the general strategy is we call it the critical mass. So we understand through our advisors that selling to a university is very challenging. There's a lot of data requirements, a lot of bureaucracy surrounding the process. And to make that a little bit easier, our strategy is to have 20% of the student body at a select university, first UC Davis, using SchedGo as free users on a base plan. And we're saying, hey, University of California, Davis, IT director, we have 6,000 students using this right now. If we can sign a contract, we can expand the feature base of this to really change their lives. We have a bunch of data that can support you. We can help inspire your registrar process. And that's the basic idea. So sort of a B2B sales negotiation. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, our CFO, let's go over to you. How do you finance this if you don't have any customers?
Right. So Big Bang is a really big blessing for us right now because it kind of gives us a small runway. We won about $30,000 through the Big Bang.
$30,000.
We did. So it's going to go into incorporation and getting the legal stuff right, and a little bit runway to accelerate the degree planner, right? So we will be rolling out the degree planner by the end of this year, like a public beta version which people can actually use. SchedGo is up right now. It is live, but it's the scheduling aspect of it and not the degree planning aspect of it that's live right now. We're also in talks with a couple of incubators, accelerators, and having the early venture discussions because I personally work in private equity, so I kind of see a direction where we want to take this company and how we want to monetize it. But again, the timeline is by end of this December. That's when we want to start off in a really big way.
So you are recently here from India, and when you say you work in private equity, do you work in private equity here in the United States?
I do.
Oh, who do you work for?
Have you heard of Upwelling Capital?
What is it?
Upwelling Capital.
No, I haven't. Okay, are they in the Bay Area?
No, they're based out of Davis and New York.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you would have heard of the founder though. Have you heard of Giancarlo Mark?
I don't know if I have or not. I probably should have, huh? Okay. That's awkward. Right. Yeah, some of our listeners know that I do dabble a little bit in venture capital too. So
right.
And Sacramento's not that big a place. I probably should know him. So.
Right.
Okay, so how long have you been working in private equity?
I've been with Upwelling since November, so it's been quite some time now.
Yeah.
But we've also been having a lot of discussions with other venture firms which do early stage investing, just to figure out if we are, if what we are building is aligned with what they're looking for, so that when we want to start off by the end of this year, we're meeting the right people.
What kind of feedback are you getting from those investors?
Well, first thing is pretty much everybody we talk to can relate to the problem we are solving, which is everybody's had an issue while pursuing their undergrad degree. And it's common to all three of us too, because I'm an industrial engineer myself, but I never worked in that space. I like at this point, I don't even know why I did industrial engineering. Right? so I did industrial engineering. I started my own packaging firm, and then that got acquired, and then I moved to the US. Now I'm in private equity, and now I'm doing SchedGo.
You built a company and sold it already?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
Thank you. So like all of us connect to the problem in some sort of ways, and so do the people we have conversations with. But you know, the more conversations we have, the more we realize that what we say TAM, right, total addressable market, is way bigger than what we think it is, because a lot of people who are giving us feedback say, I think you're just focusing on one small part of the problem. There's a bigger market to address with your product, right? Just go for it. So we've been strategizing based on all of these discussions we've been having. So it's been a really fun process, especially building a company, something which I personally I'm passionate about. So
yeah,
it's amazing.
Okay, so question here. So you haven't incorporated yet now?
We should be by the end of this month.
Okay,
we're having those discussions.
The intention is to make it a company and take it to the next level.
Right.
Okay. Maybe I'll go back to you, Henry. What's been the biggest challenge so far?
The biggest challenge is currently the schools, they are very reluctant to open up their APIs for us to get data from them easily. Although we currently the
data that you need to get is what the curriculum is and the class scheduling and that kind of thing. Is that the kind of data you need?
That's the first step. And for our the next big feature, the degree planner, we also need to access the student records, what classes they have taken so far and their performance, so we can make more personalized recommendations. And that's kind of the biggest challenge, because a lot of users, they are requesting this feature, also features where you build your schedule on our platform, you can just click one button on our website to register for it. And these features require official collaboration with universities. So that also is that is also why we try to pursue the B2B model instead of the B2C, because only cooperating with universities, integrate with their existing system, can enable more features that students really want and make a bigger impact.
Are they reluctant because of privacy issues?
For the first part, if we are just getting the course data, there's no privacy issues. Those course information are publicly available online on their website already. It's more kind of bureaucracy. When I talk to one developer in the IT department, he actually loved our product, and he brought it up with the admin who are in charge of the current schedule builder, and he just told me that, hey, it's gonna make their admin look like they are not doing a good job, so they are not going to collaborate with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, thinking about this, the B2B sales force, have you had, Dillon, have you had experience in a B2B sales environment?
Yeah, not as a sales, but on the marketing side.
Okay. Have you built? This guy's built and sold a company. What's your big win?
I would say my big win, I'm curious if you recognize this story. I was attending UC Davis as an undergrad when a childhood best friend of mine was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I left. I dropped out to create a foundation. Oh, wow. We ended up on the Washington Post, Good Morning America, NBC Nightly News, telling our story. I left to create a foundation to help him pursue his bucket list. We put together some viral campaigns. Ultimately, we broke a world record for the most bone marrow donor signups. And it was 13,000 people did this and helped us. And then one of those people, a complete stranger.
It's giving me chills.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, wait, the story's not over. It gets even better. One of those people, complete stranger, still don't know who it is. They were the 0.006% chance genetic match that my friend needed. So the foundation that we created together literally saved his life. And he's been in remission since 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an adventure.
That happened in 2019. How old were you when you did that?
That was 5 years ago.
Okay, so you were in college?
So.
Yeah, okay, you were in college at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was for your best friend?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess you guys are really tight now. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a new form of bonding.
Yeah. That's
I've also worked in
amazing.
marketing, which is a little bit more.
I know I'm jumping off story here, but I'm blown away by that.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he's built and sold the company. You've saved your best friend's life, and about make me cry here. Okay, back to you. What have you done, Henry? You're just the founder, the original founder. What have you done prior to this?
So because I started this as a personal project in my first year of college, and later I founded the team. I went to the Plasma Accelerator, and finally the Big Bang. And during these 4 years, I've also done 2 internships at Amazon, and I also worked for some student startups before. It's more related to AI, machine learning. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'll ask each of you this, and I don't know how well you're aligned on this. If you could just tell me the vision of what this will look like, and maybe what the longer term strategy would be. You want to start?
Yeah, so our short-term strategy is to have our AI machine learning powered degree planners that can help undergrad students build their entire 4-year degree plan. And we are also looking for other things like professional education, continuing education, and expand to the other part of the edtech market as well. Because there are a lot of legacy systems the school is using that is not user friendly, and when we grasp our go-to market, we are going to expand to all other related areas with our AI and machine learning based technology.
So how do you guys make decisions? So you get it looks like there's 3 people on this team. Are there other people on the team?
It's among the 3 of us. All the decisions are made among the 3 of us.
Okay.
We do have a few people in the team who mostly work on the product side and some on the growth side to implement the strategies that we come up with, right? But it's mostly the 3 of us where strategy, growth, and how do we finance it, and who do we reach out to. These decisions are taken by Dillon and I. Henry takes most of the decisions on the product side, and we have these conversations. We come up to Henry, we say, hey, I think this is the direction we want to explore, and Henry gets working on the product itself because he's amazing in building products, right? He's really good with code. And it's the kind of feedback we're getting from users who are using SchedGo too. They really like how intuitive the platform is, how it looks, the whole user experience, UI, what we say, right? And all of that is credit to Henry because he's really good with what he does.
Yeah. Interesting to see this team. I love how you guys have broken it up with the 3 leaders. One's product, one's finance, one's growth. I think that's a really good way to go. It feels like you got all your bases covered. What's your biggest concern in terms of reaching this vision? What's the big worry, if there is one?
I think the short-term worry is the chicken and the egg problem, right? What we're building is technically complex, and so it requires financing. To be able to really nail the landing, we need a runway, right? To be able to do that. But of course, to be able to get there, we need money. So it's what comes first, right? Mm-hmm. We know that tomorrow in a different universe, we could turn on ads and that would solve a lot of problems. But then we're missing the philosophical goal we have, which is making education easier. So I think it's just balancing what we can do now and what we want to do in the future, and making sure, for lack of a better way to put it, we're not selling ourselves out for a short-term game, right? We really want to make education easier, but that's a big, big ask.
Yeah. Well, I like that. That's easy for me to understand, make education easier, because my daughter went to UC Davis as well, and she was on a diving scholarship, so she got a little bit of, extra. Getting into classes was slightly easier for her, and then she ended up getting. Some of the degrees were really tough to get into these classes. So she ended up getting a communications degree, and she got out in 3.5 years, but she sort of just wanted to go, get through it a little bit. But I could see with these advanced degrees, it being just almost, very, very hectic, and it takes forever just to get your degree if you don't have the right planning strategy. So congratulations on what you're building. It's exciting to hear each of your stories individually. And we have somebody else coming up on the show. We have I guess it's the second place team is going to come on, Square Solutions. So thank you guys for coming on. We'll bring up Square Solutions now.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
having us.
Thank you.
Do that. All right, so now I have, I guess it's the second place winners of the Big Bang, and it's Square Solutions, and there's 3 of you here again today, too. So maybe we'll go around and just have you do a quick intro like we did with the last team.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Deesha. I'm a third-year biomedical engineering student, and we all met at quarter at Aggie Square. So I'll pass it on to Sophie.
I'm Sophie. I'm also a third-year undergraduate in biomedical engineering. I kind of help in the strategy and the kind of development of product.
Okay.
I am Harjn. I'm also a third-year biomedical engineering student at UC Davis, and I also help in like the product development side of things.
Well, you and I hit it off originally because you went to Oakmont High School, so I knew you were a stud right then.
Yep, class of 2020.
But that's now the other you two women. Did you grow up around here, or where are you guys originally from?
I'm actually from Central Valley.
Central Valley, like
Yeah,
what's that? Like
so-
Fresno?
So
or-
around Fresno area, yeah.
Okay. And then where are you from originally, Sophie?
I'm from the South Bay. I'm from San Jose.
South Bay. Okay, so let's talk about your business, and then we'll talk about the competition a little bit. Maybe just tell us a little bit about the business.
Yeah, so our product, I'll describe it in 3 words. It's a portable cell incubator. So basically the goal that we're trying to solve with our product is to solve this problem of a transportation gap between getting cell therapies from like product development, like research side, to people in the hospitals.
Okay, so the transportation, like getting, what are these, like little test tubes, or there I guess must be very small packages?
So they're usually cell therapies. They're in flasks.
Okay.
And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to transport these, because right now what's happening is they're just kind of put into ice, like a box of ice, and transported, and that can really kill off the cells. I think it's about 15% of cells die within the transportation process.
Okay.
So they're not getting, all of them are not getting there to the patient who needs these cells.
Okay, so could they just get more cells, and then that way you could deal with the 15%? Shrinkage?
That's not necessarily how it works.
Okay.
A lot of
I'm a C student from Oakmont High School, okay, so I don't even know what cell therapy is.
No, that's completely fine. It's still a growing market. A lot of new research is being done in cell therapy development area, but yeah, you can't just make cells out of nowhere. You have to really, you have to do cell culturing techniques, and you have to make sure, it's a big time process that goes into making cells.
And so you're saving a lot of money by having that happen. Is that right? Are you saving lives? Are you saving money? What are you actually? What's actually happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
So by solving this cell efficacy issue, the idea is that we'd be saving more people's lives.
Okay.
That they're getting all the cells that they need, and not minus 15% of what they need.
Okay, so you transfer them from where to where? It starts off where, and then it goes to the hospital?
Right. So a lot of these cells are cultured in labs, and we have to get these cells from the labs to the hospitals where the patients need them the most. So the idea with this incubator is that instead of freezing down the cells and thawing them again, which affects 15% and 15% die, we would keep them at 37 degrees Celsius, like body temperature.
Mm-hmm.
We'd keep them at body temperature, and they just aren't freezed and they won't die.
And then what about time? Does it need to be from point A to point B in a short window of time? If you keep it at 37 degrees Celsius, will those cells last for a long period of time?
Yeah, I think in 30.
So the way cell culturing kind of works is you have these cells, and they are living things. You treat them like living things. You give them the food they need. And our product is essentially scaling down the standard right now for growing cells and maintaining cells. And that's, you go into any research lab that makes cells, they're gonna have these big incubators. They keep them at 37 degrees Celsius. They have CO2, they have sterility. And when you give the ideal conditions, that's when they can thrive. And so we wanna shrink this normal incubator down, make it portable, and do it so we can deliver these cells essentially as they would be in the lab directly to the hospitals, just directly to the OR room.
Would you say that this is mostly like a packaging type item? Is because you're not dealing with the actual transportation. You're just dealing with the way it's packaged when it gets transported?
It's a little bit of both. Our current venture is creating the product. Our long-term venture is being involved in the transportation of it as well.
Oh, okay. So how did the team come together? You're all doing biomed at UC Davis. And did you hear about the Big Bang and then you decided to start the company, or what prompted you to start this?
So our story starts with Aggie Square, which is essentially an initiative through UC Davis to bring together students, industry, and the community. And we specifically were part of a cohort of people who were addressing the gap between physicians and engineers in healthcare. So we were in a program where we were exposed to so many different problems in healthcare. We spent a lot of time in the OR room. We got to talk to a lot of researchers and doctors. And through that, we recognized, well, first off, there are so many problems in healthcare and there are so many things that need to be addressed. But one of our professors, Dr. Harjn Bains, is currently in the clinical trials for stem cell therapy for spina bifida. And when talking about his research and his clinical trials, he was explaining how difficult it is to get his cell therapy to the hospital for the surgery that they're being used for. He showed us this photo, kind of like, it was really funny, where basically the PI of his lab was pushing the cell incubator, the full-size cell incubator, down the street from his lab at the medical facility to the hospital. And that's kind of where our idea formed. We're like, this is crazy. Like, this can't be what the standard is.
So what it is now, it looks like a cart that you push down push from one building to the next.
It's like this huge box. It's like on wheels and like pushing it. It's like, how do you get it into the elevator, up the stairs to the OR?
And what you're pushing is this small, like a very small thing.
It's just like a flask.
A little flask.
Yes.
Okay. And it's a big ordeal. And you're pushing it in a cart. So some places, I'm sure you would want to transport it farther than that, right?
Right, because some labs specialize in certain cell therapies and making specific cells. So if your patient is in LA, how are you going to get this huge cart to LA? So you would need put it on a plane. And so the idea with this portable incubators is just easier to transport, even far distances, rural distances for rural patients and stuff.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So what stage is the company in now? I'm a little bit familiar with Aggie Square, and I know they're building a big facility. But you're part of a program, like one of these original programs, where you're sort of finding a problem, almost as a like a class project type of thing, kind of. How is this different than a class project turning into a business?
Well, it was never a class project
Not a class.
start with.
Okay.
I think actually it was after Aggie Square, we all sat down and we talked with each other.
Oh.
And we were like, this is like a problem that we all got to know each other. Like the team got to know each other through Aggie Square. So we were able to find our weaknesses and strengths through that. And we talked about these problems, and this was the one we really nailed down. And we were like, this is something that would be great if we can just help solve.
Have you decided to actually make it a business now?
Yes, we were hoping to make it a business. As of right now, we're still, now that we have the Big Bang money, we got $10,000 from the Big Bang prize money. We're hoping to develop a prototype so that we can actually get it out there and do testing on it.
Okay, so in terms of developing a prototype, who does what on the team? How did you divide up the, roles and responsibilities? We heard our last group. They've, I don't know if they're further along. Sounds like they might be slightly further along.
Yeah.
What's your plan for dividing up roles and responsibilities?
I think we kind of all have our specialties amongst the group, and so then based on that specialty, so we kind of created some categories. Like me and Sophie are a bit on the product side. Deesha has her amazing leadership skills as well, so she kind of helps organize meetings. Also overarching looks at things. And
we also have a really big team. There's about 10 of us.
I saw that picture on my screen over there. Yeah, it looks like about 10.
Yeah.
Okay, what does everybody do? How do you keep 10 people busy? I mean, I can't, that's a lot of...
So I think a lot of it is just it is product development, and that's mainly what we're focused on right now. We started just a little bit before the Big Bang, and we have a lot of great advisors giving us, all the ins and outs of what we could do, what we shouldn't do. Young Hang. He was our TA in Aggie Square, but he's been helping us do a lot of the decision making and also the research aspect of it.
So if you make this into a real company, it's going to be worth a lot of money, and you've got 10 teammates. Is everybody sort of an equal shareholder? How do you make those kind of decisions?
That's kind of where we're standing at right now.
Yeah.
We're at a point where now we have this money. It's like this is going from, like you said, it wasn't a class project, but a class project to like a thing, like an actual thing, a company. So we're just working on, like any company, there's roles. We're kind of working through roles and like what people are going to take on, and with that will kind of rise who has stake in what company in the company. But
interesting.
It's we're still very early on in our venture. So
there's no arm wrestling or positioning right now for leadership roles or more equity, or I'm working harder than you, or any of that.
Not at the moment. Hopefully it stays that way.
A fight.
Yeah, no, I'm like, oh no.
I would say our team is really good at communicating with each other, and if we do have a problem that arises, we make sure to address it together as a group rather than just someone talks to someone on the side and like kind of gets it over with. Me and Ethan, he's one of, all of us are co-founders, but me and Ethan are primarily taking on the role of like just delegating and also like organize everything as Harjn said. And I think so far it's been working, but if anyone were to come up to me and be like, I want to try out the role, I don't think there would be a problem necessarily in us kind of working together on that.
Yeah. Interesting dilemma, to see something like this, because you have 10 people all trying to work together. You've been described as the leader, which might mean you have to find a way to make those decisions or get those decisions made, because you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Yeah. These three, they just came on, they've got, one person in charge of product, one person in charge of growth, and the other person in charge of finance. Kind of, I don't know if it's textbook, but it seems to make sense. It's what I see a lot of companies do. Do you envision needing to move towards something closer to that?
I think as we develop the product and as we go forward, we definitely will develop something that's like that. I think as I was listening to them talk, I was like, wow, they have it down to the nail. But I think right now we're still very, very early on our product development. So.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of the competition, what did it feel like to compete against people like these guys, right? Obviously, kick butt in a big way, but you guys are no slouch. You guys are highly technical, and you're solving it sounds like a real problem. Tell me about that competition. Anybody want to describe? Is it like feel super competitive? Were you nervous?
So we were all part of like the pitching to these investors, and I know when I walked in, I see them all like sitting like that. I felt like Shark Tank almost. Like I got kind of nervous, kind of scared. But as you like start talking about like your product and pitch, you become more and more confident as you go. I didn't really look at the other competition as much because I knew if I looked at it, I'd like second guess myself and whatever. And so I just like went in there just like not knowing who the competition is, and I think that confidence in me kind of got brought out as we were presenting.
Well, 10 people pitching. How did you guys divide up? Did everybody say something on the pitch? That's a lot of mouths.
Only a few people were talking. Yeah.
Were you, Sophie? Were you talking? Were you one of the people presenting?
The kind of way it was done was it was an 8-minute presentation, 12-minute Q&A. I played a big role in like the Q&A because of, like we said, we were really involved in like the research and design aspect of it. So then I was kind of able to jump in and add in those like the information that we can't give in like an 8-minute pitch.
Do you intend to be a part of this going forward if it becomes a company?
Yes.
What part of this are you most excited about in terms of that?
I'm very excited about we have so much opportunity to grow. We're putting ourselves into an industry a very fast growing industry. Cell therapy is super fast growing. And so kind of seeing where our product can go, I really believe in our product and I think it could really change cell therapy. And so just kind of seeing that through, it's really cool kind of being an undergrad and having an idea I care about.
Well, UC Davis is world renowned for this area of study. And so how much of an advantage is it to be at UC Davis solving this kind of problem? We talked to the last group, they're solving a problem that every university deals with, basically, or every student deals with. Yours is like perfectly suited for UC Davis specifically.
Yes.
Do you find that that's an advantage?
It's very exciting. As I mentioned, we have our one advisor, and he's carrying out the first clinical trial for spina bifida in like fetal surgery. And so it's cool that like they are supporting us in this, because it's just exciting. That's the only way to put it. It's very exciting because we have a very close look into it, and like through the program, we were able to talk to these doctors, and they're all very excited and willing to help us because they also recognize the value of it.
Yeah. And also at UC Davis, there's many professors, many researchers that are, dabble in cell therapy in this sort of field. So if we have any like questions, if we need something, we have a wide range of people that we can go to as well.
Besides the person that you guys have described so far, who's been the most help out of UC Davis in terms of the professors?
I would say Dr. Wang, right?
The list goes on, honestly. We've had Dr. Wang works alongside Dr. Diana Farmer, who's been very helpful. She's a physician, so we get to see her perspective. We've had a lot of people in the business aspect of it. We have like patent lawyers who work along Davis and are very involved in that to help us with like the business aspect and kind of what we want to do long term with our design. Just a lot of professors are very excited to hear that their students are working on something and are very excited to let us pick their brain for information.
That's exciting. Okay, so in terms of moving forward, what are you most excited about? Let me go to you too. What are you most excited about?
I would say the thing that I'm most excited about is seeing our product come to life. I think that's a little bit short term as of right now, but being able to see like all of the aspects that we want in this portable incubator, and seeing that it actually works and it actually is helping cells live, if you will. I think that's very exciting to see.
Where do you go to get something like this prototyped?
Well, we have a lot of resources at UC Davis, I think, in general. We have the engineering student design center where we can go to get this stuff designed and like actually built, and then also Dr. Wang's laboratory is there if we want to do research to make sure we're getting the right amount of CO2 into the cells. So we have quite a bit of room to play with.
What are you most excited about, Harjn?
I'm excited because as Sophie was saying, that the biomedical engineering industry itself is growing rapidly, and so is the cell therapy industry. And so I'm just excited to be a part of that growth and contributing to that growth. And I'm excited just to see, again, Deesha was saying, like, our product just coming to life, like something that we've worked so hard on, just coming together. I think I'm really excited about that.
Well, I am excited that these kind of innovative ideas are coming out of UC Davis. A guy coming out of my high school that's it's changing the world. So it really brings me a lot of appreciation for you, and really, I guess, hope for for America, for the world, with you got people like you really at the helm. You're the next generation. So really, really excited for what you guys are doing. So thank you very much for joining me on the show, and really great to have you right here in my backyard. It's really fun to see. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
You bet. Welcome back to the Mark Haney Show. Great show today, inspired by these people that are coming out of UC Davis, building businesses, starting from scratch and turning it into something, real businesses that can be venture-backed in many cases. So great show, really inspired, and much of that kind of work is happening at UC Davis. It's not just about what's happening at the Big Bang Theory. There's all Big Bang competition. There's all kinds of really cool innovation that's coming out of the folks at UC Davis. In fact, the Growth Factory is invested into a number of companies that have sprung out of innovation from UC Davis. And when we think about our entrepreneurial ecosystem, you have to step back from like a 30,000 foot perspective, I think, once in a while and go, okay, how can we connect these all together? And that's what the Backyard Advantage is all about. Taking these people, these disparate groups of people, and bringing them together to build an advantage. It's around a culture of love. So we have the universities like UC Davis and Sac State and William Jessup. And of course, you've got the community colleges. So you got the education piece. Even the high schools are a part of this backyard advantage because there's entrepreneurship coming out of our high schools. Then you take the entrepreneurs who are actually in the middle of building their businesses. Some of them are small businesses. Some of them are tech companies. But these are entrepreneurs that really are risking everything. We have our investors. We have a number of venture capital firms in town. Angel investing is coming around here in Sacramento. And of course, now that we started the started Growth Factory, we've been bringing on partnerships with corporations. And these corporations consist of SMUD, the Sacramento Kings, Tykert, and also people like the city of Roseville, the city of Rockland, El Dorado County, people that get it. They understand the power of entrepreneurship and they want to do something about it. And that's what the Growth Factory and the Backyard Advantage is all about. Again, it's the most connected community in the world for local entrepreneurs. And so we're coming together in many, many ways, but one of the ways that we're coming together is coming up soon, and you need to know about it. It's called GFX. It's the premier venture conference and entrepreneurial conference for the Backyard Advantage to come together, right? We're going to be building the Backyard Advantage right there at the conference. We're going to be helping one another. We're going to be listening to one another. We're going to be appreciating one another. We're going to be inspiring one another. We're going to be educating one another. And we're going to be engineering wins for one another by connecting one another to each other to help get the doors open, to eliminate the friction that it takes when you're trying to get your business from point A to point B. It can be really, really difficult. So the Backyard Advantage is to sort of smooth that out so it makes it a little bit easier, well, a little less difficult for entrepreneurs to build those businesses. So it's GFX, October 5th at the grounds in Roseville. There should be about 1,500 people. We're bringing on venture capitalists from our region, from outside the region. We have somebody who's been on the board of Tesla, the automaker, for the last 16 years. We have people who are world-class minds in technology and specifically on artificial intelligence. This is a chance to get connected with those folks. My buddies from the Entrepreneurs Organization will all be there. Again, it's really building the most connected community in the world. October 5th at the grounds. We need you there. So to all you out there fighting the good fight for our freedom, for our security and our way of life, and to all you out there fighting the good fight for entrepreneurship, you know that here at the Mark Haney Show, at the Growth Factory, at Haney Biz, we're never above you. We're never below you. We're always by your side.
Thanks for watching today's show. My goal for every episode is that you find a takeaway, something tangible you can use in your business today. And if you have a comment about a favorite takeaway, feel free to put it in the box below. And if you have a topic that you'd like me to bring up on the show, don't forget to let me know. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship. Because at Haney Biz, we are always by your side.